when I think of gang banging, I think of OG, Crips, I think of Bloods, I think of Snoop Dogg, I think of, so West Coast, East Coast. Can you describe, you're a Texas Crip, what is Crips versus Blood? What is it for real? Not the television version.
Right. First of all, the historicity of the Crips and the Bloods was to protect the community against crooked police who came purposely into the community to, harass, target and unfairly, treat black people. The Watts riots, happened in the 60s, right?
Los Angeles, those are huge. So that was kind of the origin of the gangs?
That was kind of where Raymond Washington, because see, I'm from Texas, but the Crips started in California.
Okay, yeah.
They originated in California.
West Coast, that's what they all think.
Right, everything.
Snoop Dogg's a Crip, one of the most famous Crips.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody, from people like Texas, we look up to Cali, what I'm saying, because that's the homeland.
And that was kind of the premier state. Now, not so much, but still, California has always been looked at as the LA, Hollywood. I mean, that is the kind of, state that embodied the American dream the most, I think you could argue.
So this kind of what happened. The Crips were, in the community. See, CRIPS stands for Community Revolution in Progress.
Wow, I didn't know that. CRIP stands for Community Revolution in Progress.
Right, and it was designed to,
you can take your earpiece out if it's uncomfortable, because now the sheriff's gone. Yeah. You just let it hang. You're good.
Yeah, it was an organization that was put together by some elders, forefathers of mine, they were resisting, like the Black Panthers. You remember the Black Panthers?
Of course, yes, during the Civil Rights
Black Panthers, they were defending the community against injustice. So was the Crips and the Bloods, but as the drugs came into the community, everybody's ideals got, kind of, swayed. So it went from protecting the community to becoming a menace within the community.
Why do you think that was? Do you think that was done on purpose through hip-hop music to kind of try to create a lifestyle of degeneracy?
Right. I call it subliminal seduction.
That's a good word, subliminal seduction. I like that.
And, you got music, you got video games, you got movies, and they all promoted, gangsters, the Al Capone era, you know what I'm saying? All of these eras where people were using guns and going into places with public and shooting.
Well, and that's what I watch these clips where they talk about other rappers like Method Man and stuff that were friends with Puff Daddy and Tupac and Biggie, all during all that. And they said that they really weren't mad at each other at all. That was all the media, created all. It was all hype. They really didn't care. Maybe there was some beef between Biggie and Tupac, but everybody else, it wasn't like they said on MTV.
Well, I think the beef really started after Tupac got shot in the elevator.
The first time when he got shot 5 times, and I'm still breathing, living proof there's a God if you need a reason, Tupac. But so when he got shot in New York City and he blamed it on Biggie, that was what started the violence between the East Coast, West Coast?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's always been tension from the rap because, East Coast is kind of gangster. And West Coast is kind of gangster and East Coast is more conscious.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
You got a music that's designed to instill, violence, and then you got music that's designed to instill consciousness.
Kind of make you think a little bit. No, I do agree.
Make you think.
And Biggie Smalls was, the best lyricist. He was so good, and he represented the East Coast. So, now the Crips and Bloods, though, you talked about it. These young people, they don't live by a code anymore. These youngsters just shoot each other for peanuts. Right,
and it's bad. It's really done got to an epidemic level in our community where the youngsters now, they are overarmed and uneducated. We all know the Constitution. It's everybody's right to bear firearms.
I agree. Even if you're a gangbanger, even if you're a crip, I think we should be able to have a gun.
Right, exactly. But what we are being miseducated on is that the use of a gun is not for to solve a problem.
Yeah.
That's where the broken the breakdown in understanding is that we were taught that when it's a problem, it's best to grab a gun, and that's where a lot of the culture is now, with the youngsters. When they get mad, instead of them, having a meeting, sitting down like we did, and talked our problems out. Now, a lot of times, what we did, we kind of set that tone for the violence. That's kind of
Your level did by
Yeah.
shooting people, doing the drive-bys and the...
by engaging in all that, and then plus the subliminal seduction of everything that they were seeing. I think that all kind of settled them in an unruly way to where now the young guys, they don't want to listen to nobody. They don't care. They don't care about life. It's like that sheriff was saying, there's so many people out here who are really bad, and it's the youngsters that are really bad, and it's not really their fault because they were taught wrong. The older guys, they got jobs.
And they don't have the guidance,
Right.
They don't have the mentorship.
The big homies, the gangsters, they stopped gangbanging and got jobs or got businesses.
Got kids or
got kids and families, so they had to pull away from the streets. So then you got all these youngsters out here still trying to live up to the reputation or the lifestyle that they heard about this guy who just done settled his life down and ain't the same kind of guy no more. So that broke down the communication. So now you got brothers who really done went the wrong way, and then there's nobody to tell them, hey, don't go that way. That's, you going down a tunnel that there's no light at the end. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself